to be with us and to talk about the Kamailio project. So let's give a very warm welcome, a ComCon welcome to Henning Westerholt.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's always tough after Element guys going on the stage and speak. Of course, this is a bit more exciting than all these infrastructure software we are talking about now for the next 30 minutes. But nevertheless, it's important and important part of the ecosystem and for voice over IP and real-time communication. Quick agenda overview, a few words about me, a few slides about Kamailio. We have also people on the streaming, of course, that might or might not know about the Kamailio project. As promised, I will go into detail about the Kamailio 5.7, our most recent release. New modules we have there, some extensions, deployment changes that are important for users, and then to the end for some outlook, just a bit of overview about the Kamailio project and how you can participate if you like, and these kind of things. Great. Yeah, as said, my name is Henning. I'm with a company called G-Lava. We offer services for real-time communication platforms, consulting management, administration, developer trainings, development and IT operations support. I'm with the Kamailio project since 2007, quite some time now. I started at 2007 working for an internet service provider, and now with an own company since several years. We don't have any special products. We don't have an own platform. We only provide services for our customers. Our customers mainly are internet service providers and telephone providers, and of course they are located in Germany, Europe, North America, Asia, and Middle East, all of the place basically. I will be here the whole conference, of course, so in case of any questions, feel free to address them later after the talk, but of course I'm here also the whole conference. Kamailio is an old project, starting back to 2001. There was once upon a time there was a project called Zip Express Router, and then over several iterations, basically about different renames, different forks, the Kamailio project came to be. It's a carrier-grade zip server as an open source project published under GPL, and it's used for the implementation of middle to large voice over IP infrastructure. What I mean with middle and large, starting from 10,000 people upwards, I would say, 10,000 phones, 10,000 devices, then it starts to make sense to use Kamailio. It's used as a building block for systems with many millions of users. In Germany, most prominent 1&1, 1&1. Zipgate, of course, are also here. They will also have a talk during the next days about their usage of software, open source software for voice over IP. We have an active and diverse developer team, many core developers, of course, different packages, many pull requests, all what you expect from a real open source project. The Kamailio project works like this. It has an extensive core and over 200 extension modules. It's a fairly modular design. One can use it for many different use cases. Just to say, as this is an important design characteristic. It's not a PBX, so not like Asterisk, not like free PBX, free switch, whatever. It's no back-to-back user agent. There's no complete separation of incoming and outgoing zip traffic. And to learn Kamailio, it's usually a bit more complicated as learning other software, because it's not configured, but it's more like a software development kit for voice over IP for zip. So you need to have a solid zip knowledge to use it, to program it, to use it to its full extent, to its full power. That said, after you have mastered it, after you learned it, it can be operated easily, has a stable and good performance, and has low system dependencies from the core and main module. You can even route thousands of requests per second on a Raspberry Pi nowadays. It's really powerful. Main usage, applications for Kamailio, for of course VoIP core applications. If you want to build a telephony provider, you need to have voice call applications like device registration, call routing. You want to have security and abstraction functionality, something what people call normally like an SBC, Session Border Controller. Other vendors call it like this. Of course, there is no zip definition of a Session Border Controller, so we prefer on the Kamailio project to talk about security and abstraction functionalities. Of course, you would probably interested in presence functions, NAT traversal, media proxy, common ways how to interact with Kamailio on your web application side. And of course, you want to also do billing. There are different ways to do it, different projects that are also in the ecosystem that provide you more support for that. On the security and scaling side, if we are talking more about an enterprise setup, many people use it also as a load balancer. Imagine you have legacy devices or an application server farm that operate over zip. You will use Kamailio for scaling this, for balance that servers. High availability functionality, of course, is also important. Kamailio brings built-in clustering mechanism with it to cluster your server. And many cases you might have also legacy devices, legacy soft switches, legacy SBCs that might or might not be supported anymore from the vendor. And of course, Kamailio can be used this also to protect this infrastructure. On the topic of WebRTC, there are nowadays many WebRTC stacks out there. They work great. Some of them stop working great if you scale them, like if you have thousands of users that you want to support with these WebRTC stacks. Kamailio can help you here to scale them. But as I mentioned, switching toward legacy systems here as well can be necessary. Even if you have a full-blown WebRTC platform, like a call center platform, etc., a web-based call platform, you still have PSTN systems you want to bridge to, basically. And then, of course, Kamailio doesn't stand alone. You have always existing APIs. Nowadays, we talk a lot about microservices, about REST APIs, about JSON data maybe you want to interact with on your existing platform. And Kamailio can here provide a bridge to these different existing services, either as a client but also as a server towards the existing landscape. How does it look like more on a technical slide? As I said, we have the core here in the middle, configuration, zip transport level, layer, zip parser, some internal infrastructure, memory management, locking, etc. And all these core interacts with the module interface to many modules. And the modules can be clustered in a certain way. We have database driver modules, of course, interacting with classical SQL or no SQL data, location, user location, important zip application, routing for load balancing, least cost routing applications, AAA, accounting, authorization, and different methods in this area of our radius, of our database, of our diameter, and then of course this whole topic about IMS, IP multimedia subsystem. If you want to interact with mobile networks, some people have a need here as well. Then of course this whole IMS stack is beneficial, and presence already mentioned for additional functionality regarding dialog state, maybe mailbox state, etc. RPC as a last module group interacting with your existing applications, also providing access to a management shell, of course providing access to provisioning applications, web interfaces, and the like. Kamailio is an old project, and as it goes with age, you get a bit more conservative. But it comes also from the use cases, of course. As I said, Kamailio is used from many companies with many millions of users. So it's a Kamailio project. We aim for an evolutionary approach. We have frequent releases, roughly every year, and we try not to change too much at once. Because every major change, every major refactoring, of course, has a risk of introducing some breaking, some bugs into the code. In the 5.7 release, we have over 1,500 changes. It doesn't mean that we don't change anything at all. 1,500 changes, it's 1,400 changes, I'm sorry, it's quite a lot. And as you can see, now we are in the 22nd, 23rd year of development. Over the years, we have over 35,000 changes done in the source code, so it definitely means some work is going on. But every release is more like an iterative approach, bring new modules, and over the years, basically, we continue to develop the server, to extend the server. Of course, there's over 20 years of history. This means also the Kamailio project, it's really provides a lot of functionality, which is enough for a lot of people. So many people are satisfied what they get, but of course there are always extensions, always things that can be made easier. The technology platforms develop, extend, we need to adapt to that, and etc. For the highlights for the 5.7, we have in this release we have 4 new modules. The first 2 modules are special modules for the KEMI infrastructure. KEMI infrastructure is an infrastructure to develop the Kamailio with more modern languages like Python, JavaScript, Ruby, and the like. The native configuration language of Kamailio, it's a bit less modern. It's a bit difficult to learn for people not coming from a telecommunication background. So we have the app Python 3s module. It's a special Python 3 KEMI module, which offers some advantages for certain performance situation, for certain situations here. A rather special thing, I would say, similar this app Ruby proc module. It's an Ruby API for multiprocessing, support for using Ruby. These are 2 special modules which are mostly interesting, I would say, if you're using already KEMI in these 2 languages. Then we have the math module, which is a special functional module providing additional mathematics functions. If in the case you don't want to use a more rich scripting language like Python or Ruby, you can use this math module, to implement certain mathematical functions in the configuration. The most important new module for most of the people is probably this TLS Wolf SSL module. SSL is a bit a difficult story since the last years because the OpenSSL project made it a bit more difficult to interact with it. Kamailio uses a multi-process model as architecture, and the OpenSSL guys made it more difficult to interact properly with this kind of programs with its library. So that means we had a fair amount of bugs in the last years. We need to do some extensions in the TLS stack to basically cater for that. We added a static TLS module. We added some random number generator engine topics. We added some other basically re-implementation of the OpenSSL library stack to work around that. But of course, it's all band-aids and not the real deal. So we're happy that we have now the TLS Wolf SSL module, which is basically a TLS module using a different library than not the OpenSSL library for that. It's a new module, so it will need to be thoroughly tested, of course, but nevertheless, it's good that we have it. We'll continue in the upcoming release to also support OpenSSL 3.0. There will be also some more changes in the OpenSSL world, and hopefully it will get better then. But for the meantime, TLS Wolf SSL module is there to support here and to offer a more stable support for the TLS. TLS, it's fairly sensitive to the library versions and older distributions. It's not a big deal, but the more modern the distribution gets, Ubuntu 2022, for example, you might see here some issues with the newer OpenSSL versions. Then we have different extensions all over the place and all kinds of modules. The C diameter peer module, we have got SCTP support. Dialog module gets some extensions to retrieve dialog data by different informations. We got the AV API module. It's an internal Kamailio API. It got more control, more better parameters to control its performance. There have been some instant messaging extensions. It's a special module for instant messaging support. So you see basically a lot of modules were extended. IMS, IPsec module got some support for TCP. Java Web Token functionality important for more modern authentication, interacting with web application. Get some better support to verify key parameters. The PV module, it's a large and important module for pseudo-variables transformations, basically a way to interact with zip messages. Got a lot of new variables, transformations, and general enhancements. We added some TCP support for the JSON RPC as well. LRK proxy module got some more support for advanced NAT transversal functionalities. After my talk, there will be a talk from Mojtaba talking about this LRK proxy module in particular, giving much more details here. Pipe limit and presence modules got some RPC remote procedure call updates. We did some data structure work basically in the configuration to work better with XLVP values and these kind of things. The functionality is especially important for people in the US. This is the shaken support that you are able to sign zip messages, that you can verify signatures on zip messages regarding to caller ID, to fraud, to caller fraud. These modules were extended as well. For session border controller functionality, the topology hiding module is a particular important one. This module got extended to support better filtering of certain zip headers for certain functionality for this topology hiding, to basically allow topology hiding only to enable topology hiding only for certain zip messages, not for all, to work around maybe around certain issues and interoperability problems in your infrastructure. And also the topos module can now mask the call ID as well via some inter-module API. As you might or might not know, the Kamailio native configuration language supports a lot of so-called preprocessor values. The preprocessor value is something like in C, if, def, define, these kind of things. And we added some more powerful infrastructure for that. Defx and ifx, basically you can also have now in the define and also in the if-def some more advanced operations like calculations, string operations, and these kind of operations to use the built-in preprocessor to shape your configuration during loading of the server. So basically, if you're not using something like Ansible, SaltStack, Puppet, Chef, etc., you have a rich and powerful preprocessor support in the Kamailio language, now even more powerful. Even if you use something like Ansible, of course you can combine it and have some parts in the Ansible as templates and then combine this with the preprocessor support in the Kamailio. For interacting with the Kamailio, there are different tools. There's CamCMD, CamCTL, and CamCLI. CamCLI is the newest tool. It's written in Python. It's much more powerful. It can be also extended with plugins. So there have been many additions to that tool. And more on the developer side, there have been many refactorings relating to memory management, error conditions, these kind of things in all kind of core parts and modules. And we got many contributions, I think hundreds of commits for related to spelling fixes, documentation improvements, all kind of extensions regarding to the documentation and the comments, log messages, and this kind of things. Yeah. There are basically 3 different ways how you can use the Kamailio project in your own infrastructure. As a developer, of course, most interesting is to compile it on your own system, on your own service. Then, of course, there are provided packages for Debian-based systems, for Red Hat, CentOS, or the newer Rocky Linux, etc., kind of distributions in this area. And then, of course, there's the Docker container-based approach. And if you're using Kamailio as a Docker container, it's important to know that we needed to migrate here away from the Docker Hub. There have been some changes announced this March from the Docker Inc., from the company behind Docker, that they don't want to support open source projects anymore, or support them not that easily available anymore. So we decided to migrate away from the Docker Hub, from the official Docker Hub to GitHub. Funny enough, later that they decided to reverse this decision. Apparently a lot of open source projects left the Docker Hub and they were not happy with that, but in the end we stay now with the Kamailio repository on the GitHub. We're using GitHub a lot for our development infrastructure. So if you use Docker and you want to use Kamailio, you need to prefix now ghcr.io in front of the Kamailio. Otherwise you will not find it anymore. That's the only change you need to do. Other than that, the images are built in the same way, contain the same data, the same binaries, etc. There have been no changes. This is the only change basically to do in your Docker files on the Docker Compose. No. In case you want to use the Kamailio project, we are a classic open source project, so to say. There's no secret company list or whatever. Everything is open discussed. We have a user mailing list, we have a developer mailing list, user mailing list, of course, for discussions about bugs, usage, etc. Developer more for the development topics. All the bugs are sent there, etc. We are self-hosting this infrastructure. It's an own main we use. We have also a Matrix channel where you can find us, all the developers, many users. There are 2 management board bodies. Both of them are more informal, more for discussion, these kind of things, like as I presented earlier with the Docker migrations, these kind of things. So it's a Kamailio management board, which consists of veterans of the management, veterans of the development, many people that are a long time in the development of the project, and there's also an admin group, which is a bit more hands-on. And the Kamailio project is supported from many different countries in different areas of the world, from Europe, from the US. There's no one main company basically that owns the complete project. It's done from many different countries and different companies. I'm sorry. If you want to contribute, we have a contribution guide. It's fairly extensive. We use GitHub a lot. I would say it's a standard process. We don't need any legal documents to be signed in case of contributions. We are not like other projects in this area where you need to speak with the legal department to sign a document first. We are fairly open here. If you are interested, just sign up here, have a look to the contribution guide, create the first pull request. Happy to assist you here, of course, if you have any difficulties. The next release, as I said, Kamailio uses a time-based release cycle. We are developing roughly 10 to 12 months until a new release. We have a more hands-on development phase of half a year, maybe 8 months, depending on the holiday season, etc. And then we have a testing phase after that, where we freeze the code and no major changes are allowed, only bug fixes and more work on documentation and these kind of things. The next major release, 5.8, maybe 6.0, it's not decided yet, will be in spring 2024 probably. As I said, it shifts always a bit depending on the holiday season, etc. And of course, if there's a new release, if there's some call for tests, etc., alpha, beta releases are done, of course, all this stuff is communicated on the mailing list. Yeah, that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Henning. I just need to tell you a little Henning-related story. A few years ago, somebody got in touch with me. They had a very large multi-tenant hosted system, and they wanted a Teams connection, an MS Teams connection for their system. I initially connected them with Fred Posner in America, but Fred connected them with Henning Westerholt in Germany. And the guy's name in particular was Russell. You perhaps remember Russell. And I said to Russell a few months later, "How did you get on with Henning?" He said, "The guy's a genius." I can't repeat the whole thing that he said. And so, a great report from what you did with Russell, Henning. Now, we do have time for questions before Mojtaba comes up remotely. So does anybody have any questions on the Kamailio project for Henning?
No.
Now, I know why Jonas doesn't, because Jonas was at Kamailio World just a week or two ago, so he probably asked all his Kamailio questions there.
Of course. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, great. Thank you.
Okay. I'm not seeing any other questions, but I believe you're here for the rest of the conference.
I'm here for the rest of the conference.
Okay, in that case, let's say a big thank you to Henning for coming over.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you very much.